Based on the story of the same name from the Railway series book Branch Line Engines, the 20th episode of the second series, Percy's Predicament, is the conclusion to the Branch Line Engines saga, or perhaps if you want to call it the Daisy trilogy. Daisy's time on the island of Sodor is going well for her, but badly for everyone else. Not only is she frightened of bulls and cows, she remains lazy, bad-tempered and stubborn, refusing to do jobs she does not want to do. Percy grumpily shuts trucks one day as Toby pulls in, noticing that Daisy has once again refused to take the milk tanker. This ends up forcing Percy to make a special trip with it after his usual work is done. Wanting to help, Toby offers to take the milk if Percy fetches his trucks from the quarry in return. Their crews agree to this and Percy sets off. Percy goes to the quarry to fetch the trucks and starts enjoying himself by ordering the trucks about. The trucks do not take kindly to another engine entering the quarry and giving them orders, so they decide to pay Percy out. Once the trucks are arranged and coupled behind Percy, they lure him into a false sense of security by following him so quietly that he thinks they are under control. When Percy sees a sign ordering trains to pin down brakes, he whistles to the guard to apply the brakes, only for the trucks to make their move and push him along down the line, leaving Percy whistling frantically for help. A man on duty at the level crossing rushes out to warn traffic with his red flag, but it's too late to switch Percy to the runaway siding. This leads to Percy swerving into the goods yards and crashing into a brake van, destroying it and perching himself on top of the remains of a truck. His driver and fireman have managed to jump clear, but Percy is left stranded.
Oh man, Simmons, I feel bad. But you must feel way worse, because you fucking suck. This was entirely your fault.
The next day, Toby and Daisy arrive to help clear the mess. The Fat Controller arrives too and is cross as he speaks to Percy. The branch line will now have to run with just Toby and a diesel, putting them in an awkward predicament. Percy, very much stuck in his own predicament, understands fully what he means and feels sorry. The Fat Controller then tells Percy that he is going to be left where he is until everything else is cleared up, hoping that the weight will teach him to be more careful with trucks in the future. The Fat Controller then turns to Daisy and tells her off for her laziness, declaring that his engines work hard, while he sends lazy ones like her away. Daisy is left feeling ashamed of herself, but the Fat Controller decides to give her another chance, given how hard she worked after Percy's accident. Daisy is grateful and promises to work hard with Toby's help. Knowing Toby has a lot of experience of running a branch line, the Fat Controller is satisfied. The next day, Thomas returns from the works, fully mended and feeling much better. Being happily reunited with Annie and Clarabelle, he takes them for a run while Percy is sent to the works to be repaired himself. All the engines are now friends and Daisy learns a lot from Toby, leading to her becoming a really useful engine. She even manages to shoo a stray cow off the line unassisted. As I said, this was the final part of the Branch Line Engines trilogy, and it does satisfy with its delivery in my opinion. Although one thing that might rub people the wrong way with this episode is the fact that they didn't have that bullseye yet. For some reason that episode wouldn't be adapted until the 4th series, but they did hint to the fact that Daisy is frightened of bulls and cows, nonetheless. We would get the story eventually, we just had to wait a couple of years for it. But I still think it holds up without the inclusion of Bullseye. Either the team didn't consider including this story in it because they already had enough stories to adapt as it was, or perhaps they just wanted to save it for a later series. I don't really know how the story went, but it could have been either one of those. Also, am I the only one who finds it really funny that they say that Percy has never been to the quarry before when he was clearly at this exact quarry in Percy and Harold? And I get they were sticking to the original source material, but it just feels weird that they would still include this line when he was obviously at the same quarry in Percy and Harold. I haven't really read them for a while, but maybe in the books they use different quarries for both stories, but it just feels weird using that line when he's been to that exact same quarry 20 episodes ago. But you can't really complain, it's still a well-redacted episode in my opinion. And an interesting bit of trivia for you guys, the small truck that's in the quarry before Percy sets off to pull other trucks to the yards is actually wearing the spiteful brake van's angry face. I guess they just decided it would be cool to use that face on a truck. And it honestly really does fit this truck, as the standard truck faces would have been too big for that little truck, so they had to use something that they already had, and the spiteful brake van's angry face just happened to be the perfect size. And while on the subject of a brake van, this is the second time that a brake van gets destroyed in this series. The island of Sodor really does have a habit of destroying brake vans in this series, doesn't it? I love how near the end the Fat Controller is completely stern with Daisy for being such a lazy engine in the previous episode, and is willing to give her a second chance given the circumstances.
My engines work hard. I send lazy engines away. Daisy was ashamed. However, Toby says you worked hard after Percy's accident, so you shall have another chance. Thank you, sir, said Daisy. I will work hard, sir. Toby says he'll help me. Excellent. What Toby doesn't know about branch line problems isn't worth knowing. Our Toby's an experienced engine.
It's another fine example of how the Fat Controller is firm but fair. And it's Percy's second big crash in the series. Him running into that brake van, destroying it, and perching on top of a truck is just an awesome image. It's one of those images that could scare little kids, but it's amazing to watch when you watch it years later. It really shows how far the team have come since the first series, being able to pull off a crash scene so effortlessly. The episode also shows us another side to the trucks. A side when they don't bump engines and cause them to crash just for the hell of it. Sometimes they do it when an engine they don't know orders them about. It shows that they don't take kindly to being ordered about by an engine they're not familiar with. It's just an element of the show that makes the troublesome trucks more than just troublesome little rascals that we all know them for. It shows they got some depth and character to them as well. And the Sir Ringo Starr highlight for me in this episode is when he's delivering the truck's lines in the quarry. Mainly the scene when they're planning to pay Percy out. Just his delivery of that chant is just so superb in my opinion.
The trucks rumble to each other. This is Toby's place. Percy's got no right to poke his funnel up here and push us around. They whispered and passed the word. Hey, Percy out! Hey, Percy out!
Definitely one of his best deliveries.
Come along, Puff Percy. No nonsense. We'll give him nonsense, giggled the trucks.
So Percy's Predicament is a great way to finish off the branch line engine saga in my opinion. It's got great sets, a cool runaway scene, an awesome as hell crash scene, and it just has a great moral to it about learning to be careful and to not be lazy or stubborn when doing jobs. It's an episode that I would definitely recommend checking out if you haven't seen it for a while. It's got a great crash scene, and it's a great way to end Daisy's storyline for the second series. And there'll be more new characters to come in the next episode, so stay tuned for tomorrow.